Hey, today I get to take you on a very special tour with some art collectors in Boulder, Colorado. As you're watching this, if you care to share any observations, thoughts, reflections, pieces that you liked, didn't like, I want to hear from you. I love hearing your reactions to these videos.
I'll tell you the story. So this piece came from, he brought it into the relationship. He had it for a while prior to meeting me, and the I don't think I was really aware of how influenced I was by this face, which is the angles are a little off on her body, and she's somewhat elongated and somewhat solemn. And I have been enjoying drawing and creating women's faces. And so many of my faces look not exactly similar, but I think I was really influenced by the imperfection of this drawing. I grew up, I remember my mom painting. And for me, it felt like it was such a big part of her life. And it actually wasn't, but this is one of the pieces I really love a lot. And I think what I enjoy about it is not just the blues and all that, but this was on the port in the river in Asuncion. And I like the idea of her either taking the photo and then painting from it, or just coming down there and experiencing that, or just trying to get the image of it.
What do you mean it wasn't really a significant part of her life?
She really, she didn't do it after she moved to the States. That was it. It was a very short period, but it was my growing up period. So this is a photograph of Dan's great aunt Bernice, one of those things that had been in the basement of his mother's house for a number of years. What I really find interesting is she's fairly blurred except for her face. And then someone, and I believe it's from when this photograph was taken, has taken this black and then the white chalk and created lace and lines along her dress. And you can even see some darker pink, and then the charcoal brings down and creates some of the shadows down here. But I've never seen that before.
Do you have any idea when it was taken?
1915, maybe. Definitely close.
So I looked up that whole idea of using chalk, and I've never read anything about it, but you can see a little bit here. It's pretty faded.
I like that it's unframed.
Yeah, we thought about getting it framed, and it felt a little too fussy. I do too. And yeah, there's a slight creepiness to it, but it's sort of hidden, so she's okay. Here's another piece that's by a Denver artist. When I first saw the number of his pieces, there was such a diversity in what he drew. Some of his paintings were pink ballerinas, some had a very Asian feeling, a very calm Zen feeling. And this one, we asked him what the story was, and it was about his shame and in his self-harming. And I really respected that he would publicly present a painting like this and openly talk about shame, because shame is something we hide. And I think by doing that, it allows people who have that shame or that feeling of any of those feelings to feel connected. This piece here is done by a man, Jim Colbert. What I and my husband really love about this is we often see things within the painting, which is fun. And I can feel the coolness on this hot day of being behind these rocks. Like it just feels, if I went hiking there, I would get chilly. I really like this corner because it has quite a few pieces of artwork, and yet I don't think people really notice it. I like the subtlety of it. I'll just start with this. Well, you gave Dan this when he turned 70, and I think he named it 70 string.
70 years mirrors.
70 years mirrors. And there are 70 strings on here. This will often move slightly when the heat is on, which is really nice. There's a lot of movement to it. And then I think I'll just go ahead and pair it with this right here, which also is on loan from you. And I know you had done this during Standing Rock. And I think it's just a really incredibly beautiful piece that you created depicting something that was really quite an event. And it was really something a lot of people got very involved in. And I love that that's what you came up with. You know, the oil just dripping and the creativity of using the bike tire, and people often call it a dream catcher, which I think is interesting. My mother, again, did these. I love that she, almost all of her paintings really were botanical, I would say. And these are original frames. I think they were done in the 50s, early 60s, and I just really like them. I think they're very unusual. A number of years ago, I saw this photograph for the first time. It's Beth Wald. And here's a case of how art can really tell a story. When I first saw it, I immediately had the story of this woman who probably had 3 or 4 children, maybe having a few moments to run to the market. Maybe the neighbors were watching her kids, and she was able to go into the mosque between the 5 calls of prayer that the men do in the mosque. And I just envision her having just kind of this small few moments of silence. And, you know, I love this movement here, like as though she really didn't have a lot of time, but, you know, she was going to spend some time in there. And a number of years later, I looked to see what Beth had said about this photo, and it was, you know, it was not that story at all. And that's what I really appreciate about seeing art, having art, is just what it is that speaks to you about it. And I think I was a young mom when I got that, and yeah, I just envisioned her having this few moments of serene silence in this mosque. This painting was also done by Jim Colbert. I have a love of houses. I just love houses in general. I'm fascinated by them, and I love, in many of his paintings, he would draw houses. He also would try to capture a landscape for exactly what it was. He didn't try to romanticize it in any way. If there were billboards up there, that's what he put in the painting. It was just recording what was going on. And this was, I think, from 1984. It's Red Cliff, Colorado. And prior to me meeting Jim, my husband and I had gone into town one time after camping, and we were in a restaurant for lunch, and a full-out barroom brawl happened with glass flying and fists hitting other people. So it was really interesting that he had given us this painting, and we had this kind of crazy story. A friend of ours, John Orr, took this photograph. They were in Mexico, and they were near a place called Catemaco. They wanted to go to the lake, and they had been warned, don't go there. That's where witches are. There's great sorcery there. And of course, he was going to go there. And, looking at it, I always feel like I want to see something happen in this photo, but just the mistiness of it all, and the fact that there was that story of the sorcerers in this area. So this is mostly just I would say the pairing really had to do with colors here. I clearly like this one the best out of all of these. It is an area, I would say, outside of Asuncion in the country, extremely calm and beautiful, and I really get a nice feeling from this painting. It's just
Did you get it in Paraguay?
Yes. Yeah.
When you went back as an adult, or was
no, it was my parents. And it was something growing up I never really appreciated, but I mean, oh my gosh, just that river right there is gorgeous, and the simplicity of the house as well.
Also, that tree is like watermelon colored.
Oh yeah, I mean, exactly. And we don't have fall there, so that is interesting. And then this one, I have no idea who did this, but I love seeing a beach picture with no canopies, no chairs. It's a very simple picture, but you can feel the overcastness, just the joy in that picture.
Thanks so much for watching that. I really enjoy doing these home art tours. I find it totally fascinating, the different stories that people tell, the way that collectors talk about their art pieces, the way that their pieces have informed their lived-in experiences in their homes. I find it all really interesting, and I hope that you did too. If you liked this video, if you would subscribe to this YouTube channel, share this with anyone who you think might appreciate it, and I will see you next week.